All right, you guys, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Be Uplifted. Pew, 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 pew.
Hi.
We have a big panel today because we have guests coming.
We have
soon.
guests coming, and
we have
you see
guests right now.
Yeah, we have a special guest. This is actually a very pleasantly surprised guest today. I walked in and I saw this beautiful face and I was like, yay, we have another female, because since Lonnie's left, I have been thirsting for some female energy. Let me tell you that right now. And of course, I'm so excited that it happens to be one of my favorite guests. Welcome, Bayan.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So,
And we have food.
we have lots of food. This is to celebrate a bunch of birthdays. So, a couple of the guests that are not here yet, we're going to be filming that on the next episode, they're all Scorpios. All of them are Scorpio birthdays. Like, I'm not lying when I say that. Scorpio. Our guest that's coming is also a Scorpio. I don't know what it is about Scorpios, but for some reason, I am attracted to their friendship and vice versa, hopefully.
100%.
So, with that being said, our topic today, I'm going to let Bayan give you a little backstory on how we came upon this topic.
Wait. Do you want to introduce it? Because I remember exactly how it happened.
No, I do want to introduce it.
Sure.
But you can add to it.
Sure.
Okay. So yesterday, Vince and I were talking, and we were talking about marriage and commitment. Vince was saying that the institution of marriage is one-sided, and that under the current laws, men take...
Well, no, you're skipping. So, let me tell you how it went.
Okay, go.
We were sitting down, and then she was like, oh, did you get new books? I said, yeah. And I showed her one of my new books. And then it started with her looking at this, and then she put a post up saying, this is proof that anybody can sell something for $12.99. $11.99. And she's like, she read it, and it's reasons to date a feminist. I'm not going to, no spoilers, but she looked through it, and she's like, oh my gosh. And then that kind of set the mood for our hangout yesterday a little bit. And then as we're going, I was going through reels because, she's boring. So I was looking through my phone. And I came across a reel where this guy was asking a girl, would you rather date a guy with a lot of money that will cheat on you, or date a girl or date a guy with no money, but he won't cheat on you? And then she said, what did you say?
I said I'd take the guy that doesn't cheat, and then I changed my answer.
Well, she said, first she said, I'll choose the guy that wouldn't cheat. And then she said, I feel like most girls would do that. And then I was like, no, girls are hypergamous. And then we started talking about hypergamy.
Oh, yeah, and then can you define that for everybody? Do you know what that is?
What's hypergamous?
So hypergamy, in the simplest terms, because I'm the simplest person, is dating up.
Oh,
so,
okay, yeah.
Girls tend to date up, and by definition, if girls date up, guys are dating down.
Oh, yeah, and then you were saying that because it goes up to down, then the girl is the only one benefiting when two people get in a relationship.
And then that's when we started talking about marriage.
Okay, and then I used ChatGPT.
She can't argue without it.
So we're going to call this one Vince against ChatGPT.
Vince versus ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I get, no, everybody's going to chime in.
Yeah, I know, but that's the
Okay.
pretense for the
Yes.
podcast.
So let's, instead of going through what we said, let's go through the points that
I was going to give like a quick intro through ChatGPT of it's gonna
naturally, yeah, go ahead.
Well, what is Vince going to be battling against?
Well, I guess we're going to find out, aren't we?
Okay. Well, do you have question sets for ChatGPT and see?
I can have questions.
My ideal, I think what started it was my ideal viewpoint on it was that marriage is stupid. I think that was the breakdown.
You
of
said
what,
marriage is useless.
Okay,
now
marriage
it's
is
stupid. We
useless.
got to stay
Yeah.
with the same.
Okay, so marriage is useless.
Same
I'll
adjectives.
stay with that. I'll stay with
You're
that.
picking stupid over useless.
Okay.
I think it's useless.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go with that prompt.
Okay, I'm going to read this off of ChatGPT.
Well, what are the prompts you asked though?
No, I'm just going to explain just like a very short summary of what we talked about yesterday.
And then she'll go on.
It's very short.
No, don't summarize it because we got to go step by step. That's
We
why.
will go step by
Let
step.
her talk,
Let me
guys.
talk, guys.
Let her get there, and then you'll understand.
It's very short. Okay.
Rich, no, it's cool. We'll let them ruin it. Go ahead.
Okay. So, guys. We're talking about marriage and commitment. Vince was saying that the institution of marriage is one-sided, and under the current laws, men take on most of the risk while women receive most of the legal protection. He feels that even in a healthy relationship, the structure itself isn't fair. I was saying that partnership, alignment, and communication and clear agreements can balance that out, and the outcome depends more on the couple than the institution. So I'm curious how you all see it. How about you guys start with something, or you want to start?
No, go ahead.
Okay, you guys start.
We had a 2-hour
Okay,
conversation.
repeat
about
the
this.
question one more time. The end.
So I'm curious how you all see it, but he is saying that that men take on more of the risk when two people get married, but women are protected more, and so the institution is what makes marriage useless. I'm saying that when you have partnership, alignment, communication, and clear agreements, so you write your own agreements before getting married, that will balance out the institution, and that's what the outcome of marriage actually depends on.
Would you like me to put my viewpoint on this?
Yes.
So that you have something to go off of? So with everything that you're benefiting, the commitment, the planning, or whatever it is that you just mentioned, there's no difference between having the wife and the girlfriend when it comes to intent.
No, because the thing is obviously men and women are built differently. There's no way around that. You know, biologically, psychologically, we are built different. And one of the things that women seek is safety. And that's just in our DNA. So having the reason why women yearn for the title of wife or having the ring or having the paper is because it's like a safety net. You can't just walk out. You know what I mean? You can't just, yes, I agree with you that it's just a title to a sense, but to some women, you can't just walk out when there's a piece of paper. You can't just take my stuff when there's a prenup. You can't just, there's certain things that protect the woman from probably some of her biggest fears, like being abandoned, being just left at any moment, and not to mention it gives them a sense of safety in the sense, okay, you're giving me your last name, so I know you're in it for the long run. Because many men say that they're in it forever, but that's not always true.
Wait,
First-
before you answer.
Okay.
To add to that, not just women, men also get that same safety of we're in it, we're actually building. So two people are building one thing. So it's one whole woman and one whole man. It's not half and half that make a whole. It's one whole person, another whole person coming together and building something that's a third, that's a new. It's a community of the two of them.
But you could do that without the title. And having that title only complicates a breakup in case a breakup happens. Now, you two are both in relationships. We're both not. So both of us are at a 0% success rate. So why would I jeopardize my future when I have a 0% track record with somebody else that also has a 0% track?
Because when you commit yourself to another person, the goal is that there is no breakup that's going to be in the future. So,
all relationships, in the middle of it at least, they are with that intent to stay with each other forever.
Well, because when you are committed on paper, it's a different feeling. That was your argument yesterday, which I said, when you're a photographer, you add a contract when you go to work because that contract protects both of you.
Exactly.
So when you are committed more than a girlfriend and boyfriend, when you're actually committed 100%, there's no fear of contract because what you're intending to do can go on contract and your intent is not to hurt each other.
I have a rebuttal for this, but I haven't given you a chance to talk. Do you want to say something?
Well, you guys will never win this argument. You know why?
Because he already has mindset.
No, he's thinking on the defensive. He has a defensive posture, and you guys have an offensive posture. Mm-hmm. So anything you say, there's a rebuttal. Everything he said is on the negative side: breakups, divorce.
Which is what the point I was going to say.
Which is the traumatic side.
ChatGPT picked that up yesterday.
So anything you say, well, I'm my own personal chat.
Yes, I'm seeing that. We know
No,
this.
so anything you say, there's always a rebuttal because there's always a rebuttal to a relationship. There's a yin and a yang, right? So anything you say that's positive, he can spin it, but this, and then he'll say something, and you say, but this. So it's a game that just goes back and forth. It's not something that just going to be like, oh, I won that argument. It doesn't really. It's good for argument, but there's no real winner.
Yeah.
Because you guys will always be.
He said yeah.
Because you guys will always be on each side of the spectrum.
Well, I'm here trying to understand your viewpoint.
So on the last point that she made, it's kind of like a contract for photographers. But in the contract, there's a trade of services and goods. You are basically me as a photographer. I am promising to deliver these certain things, and for that, I have an exchange of money. Now, if I can't fall through that, then they don't pay me as much, or I owe them money because it's a breach of deliverables or whatever.
Which would be the same as a divorce.
Yes, but
a breach of
if I were to be with a girl and I am the provider and protector, right? After the divorce, I still have to provide some of my sources or my resources to her so that she can keep
Well, that's
living.
if you have a child together.
No,
which
even
you
in
should.
divorce, but because that's child support. I'm talking about alimony.
No, well, that
that's
again
also
depends on the
situational.
that depends on the
Like, for
contract.
example, my mom divorced my dad, and she got a terrible lawyer. In hindsight, the lawyer didn't get her anything because she just told her, well, we're not going to win, so we're not going to try for anything. And mind you, my mom was the one that stayed with my dad through all his deployments in the military, was with him when he was at his lowest up until he, became comfortable in his living. And the person that ended up getting the benefits of that was his new wife that ended up breaking, doesn't let us see our dad, and she's a terrible human, let's just say that. But that's not always the case, alimony is very situational. It's not like every person gets that.
Well, the majority of alimony goes to the woman. Now, my problem with this is the resources that I'm providing that she likes. A portion of that can go to her, but the resources that I liked from her don't come back to me. Even if she was cooking for me 7 days a week, I don't now get 2 days out of the week where she provides for me. I don't get if we were having sex 7 days a week, I don't get two days of sex.
Can you ask Chat GPT that? What are the rules or the laws in regards to a woman receiving alimony during divorce? Because I don't feel like
you got to put it in a particular state and county. In San Diego County, in the state of California, what is the? Because then, if it's broad, it just gathers information from.
Well, alimony is based off of how much income was being contributed to the community, which is the pool. So if the woman was contributing more money, then the woman ends up paying the man alimony.
which I've also seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not about the man and the woman. It's about the contract says that the person who is providing financial support in the household needs to continue to provide financial support until the other person can be on their feet. Alimony is not lifetime either. Sometimes it's 5 years, sometimes it's 10 years, sometimes it's lifetime. It's all situational, like what you're saying.
I understand that, but that's still one-sided.
It's not one-sided because that's based off of the contract. There are also contracts where it's 50-50 financial and there is no alimony because that is the state of that contract. That's why what you're arguing is based off of somebody who blindly goes into marriage.
And the assumption that the man is the more successful one.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. There's someone that I work with, and she is the breadwinner in the home. If they were to split, she would be paying the alimony.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she is the breadwinner. So I agree with you that your perspective comes from a place of the man is the breadwinner, the man is the one that has more money, the man is the one that is going to bring home the bacon and provide everything, when that's not always the case.
So in that particular scenario, if she's the breadwinner and she's providing the financials, what was he providing? And should he still be providing a percentage of that to her?
No, in that scenario it would be exactly what you said, but
Yeah.
the
So
gender roles would
again,
switch.
it's unfair.
But that
because
but you're relating it to gender, whereas this is situational.
No, but I took your stance on it. Like, even if it's going to be the female that is the breadwinner, if she's going to be providing or supplementing the financial on that because she was the breadwinner, then whatever he was bringing to the relationship, he should be providing also, because that way then both of them are still providing for each other.
Let's compare it to a business contract.
Why?
Because it's very similar. If you're in a business with
Similar is
somebody,
not the same.
well, maybe you'll understand the point of setting a contract in the first place.
Okay.
So in the beginning of the when somebody is leaving a business, a partnership, sometimes that business needs to continue to pay that person for months or years after, depending on what the contract states, as far as like if that business is providing enough finances for that person to be living or whatever, depends on what the contract says.
Okay.
So it's the same situation in a household community contract. When you have the contract saying the man is going to be the breadwinner and the woman is going to do this and this and this, then when you end the partnership, you still have to go with whatever the contract says. If the contract says at whatever point we end it, nobody pays alimony, nobody supports anybody, if you put that in the beginning of the contract of when you're getting married, nobody's gonna come after you for any kind of money.
Okay, but the way that it's currently set up
But here's what you're not going to get either. You're not going to get a fully committed woman who's going to commit to you and your life plans and your goals and your dreams and squish everything she wants to do. You're more likely going to get somebody who's going to want 50-50. If I'm going to be left with absolute zero and nothing, then I'm going to invest in myself.
What is this that you're saying?
No, I'm just like, yeah, you're not gonna get a woman. It's completely
You're not
all
gonna
for
get
you.
you're
Yeah.
not gonna get a woman that's gonna be following you on your dreams, because
Is that what you want? Do you want a woman that just is like completely submissive to you and doesn't have her own things going on?
He doesn't want marriage.
well, he doesn't want
Well-
marriage because he thinks that he's gonna
Well,
lose.
well, no,
Yeah.
the thing is like, why can't, all right. So obviously, as I said before, you guys are thinking offense. He's thinking defense. In a perfect world, the way the way I see it, you guys are both right. It's just that you guys are over here in this perfect world where you get married and it's fruitful, it's beautiful. You guys have kids, you guys have a loving family, blah blah blah. But if shit hits the fan, here comes Vince's perspective. So it's not
No, because she's still saying that you can enter into a state of marriage that has a contract that protects both parties. So he's saying that marriage is just stupid.
but
you
no,
know?
but I'm saying,
Exactly. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
but I'm saying is like you the fact that he said marriage was stupid makes you in your head prepare for the worst. You have that offensive right there.
Right.
But realistically, when you're in a relationship, you're not thinking about that offensive thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the protection doesn't really happen a majority of the time.
Well, that's also because a majority of the time you're
Because people don't look at marriage and relationships as a business. You guys keep going back and say, think of it like a business.
Because it's a contract. No, we're talking about the contract.
It's not a contract. How many people you sign
no,
a contract?
that's what he's talking about.
No, I'm-
the
I'm-
fact that the reason why he
institution.
doesn't want to do it is because of the contract.
because of the
marriage.
institution.
We're not saying that. He's saying
No,
that.
but what I'm saying is that but the way you guys are saying you got to protect. There's things that you do. I would say 98% of the marriages that happen don't think about those quote unquote protections, and if it fails, then it goes to his argument.
Which is what I was saying yesterday to him about that point, is everybody that you could think of right now probably has a phone, but not everybody who has a phone is a photographer and can take really good pictures with their phone.
Yes.
Just because there's all these people that have gotten married doesn't mean they know what they're doing. But if you look at successful marriages, if you go and speak to somebody who's been in a successful marriage for 30 years, if they speak on marriage, they're going to talk about alignment, commitment, loyalty. They're going to talk about all those things, and they're going to talk about how you can prepare yourself for that contract ahead of time. You should talk to your significant other about finances and how we're going to be splitting finances, so you're not shaken up by taking up all the finances and then having to pay alimony later and this and that. You can talk about all these things before you sign the contract.
Right.
And you can put in writing what you actually want, so that when you go in, you both feel safe and protected, not like, oh, if this marriage ends, what am I going to do? Neither party should feel that way.
And I understand what you're saying, where you're like, nobody realistically goes into a marriage thinking business, right? I get what you're saying, but that is what he's stating. So that's why we're rebuttaling it in that sense.
But the thing is, like, he's entitled to his opinion. Like, he can say marriage is stupid. Well, okay.
I mean, obviously, we're doing a podcast.
But we're trying to make this Vince
Also-
against ChatGPT, and they haven't once.
Use ChatGPT?
No, they haven't once like battled each other.
Well,
I haven't seen any proof of ChatGPT.
Your ChatGPT.
Also-
Well, no, I'm saying I haven't seen ChatGPT outwit him or debunk whatever he's saying.
Okay, ask that to
and
ChatGPT
then
right now.
also keep in mind, statistically, most of the marriages that are successful are just marriages that haven't ended yet.
No, that's very true. You're right. But also to kind of stress more on what Kuya was saying. Kuya was like, you guys are looking at it from a standpoint of like, oh my God, marriage is great and everything's going to be good. And then when it switches bad, it's to your perspective.
Yeah, but
right?
don't make it sound flimsy. Like, I think, like, it's like frivolous. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like you guys really look at the sanctity of marriage as what it's meant to be. But then there's a reality that happens if.
Well, and
if
that's
you're not
what I
prepared.
think is what she's trying to argue, or, what we were trying to argue is that you're right. There is that. Well, see, the first thing is you went into the mentality. One of the words that stuck out into my head that you said, you were like, well, the only thing that's good about having a contract is that it makes it more complicated to break up. That was like one of the sentences that you said that stuck out. And that is literally going into the marriage with the assumption that it's going to break up, with the intention that it's going to break up. Whereas she said, nobody goes into a marriage like planning for that, So, but if you do, you have the comfort of a contract, is what she's saying.
And the contract is not there to only cover if you break up. It also covers if one person passes away.
Right.
Or what if one person decides that they want to travel for work instead of it being a stay-at-home mom. You can go into all the little nitty-gritty details.
But Vince doesn't want that, though. That's why he thinks it's stupid. He wants nothing to do with any of that.
The value of marriage is what it is.
Yeah.
Also, I put into ChatGPT, since we need to use it a little bit. He's saying statistically the marriages that haven't ended are the ones that haven't ended yet. Or marriages that, he says here's one way to look at it, but it's not the full picture. A marriage that hasn't ended yet isn't automatically waiting to fail. Some marriages stay together because they're healthy, aligned, and evolving, not because they're afraid to leave.
Well, the word some is a lot different from most. And it's statistically proven that 51%, I believe, is marriages end in divorce.
Wait.
So the majority of marriages end in divorce. So like I said before, the marriages that you deem as successful are just marriages that haven't ended yet. And there are also the ones that are seen all the way through because they're staying together because of the kids or cheaper to keep her.
So you actually believe that there are no marriages out there
I didn't say that.
that are happy?
I didn't say that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents are happy.
So why do you stand on marriages are stupid?
Because I can love my girlfriend and plan and be as successful with my girlfriend as much as I could with a wife. In fact, I would even argue that it's more beneficial for me to do that with my girlfriend versus my wife, because now I don't have to pay $20,000 for a party that she wants to have to feel like a princess and a ring. That's
That's assuming that you're with a girl that wants something like that, when there are many girls that are fine going to the
Have you seen the
courthouse.
girls that I hang out with? They expect that.
Well, then pick a different pool of girls
Yeah.
today.
But regardless, there's an unspoken fact that a lot of girls, when they think about marriage, they're actually planning for their wedding, not planning to be a wife. Because as they're growing up, they're
Where did you get that statistic from? Ask
a lot of
ChatGPT
the girls
about
that I talk to, they always envision their wedding, but they don't envision what comes after that.
So we're basing this on the girls that you
You
talk
know.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So
regardless.
you can ask Chat.
Yeah, you can-
Well, I
You can
asked ChatGPT. I said he said the word "some" is not most because that's what you said earlier.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
it is.
He said, "True, some is not most, but the point isn't the quantity; it's the quality. Most marriages fail because most people enter them with no self-awareness, no education, no alignment, and no agreements. Healthy marriages are rare because healthy skill sets are rare, not because marriages itself are broken."
Well, let's talk about this mathematically too. You have a 25% chance of the marriage going good, because in a relationship there are four possibilities as far as the viewpoint on the relationship. You either both love each other, you both don't love each other, or one person loves or the other person loves. So 25% chance that it's actually going to go good. And at the same time, like I said before, how do you know that that's going to last? Because both of us have a 0% success rate in our relationships. So statistically, that's betting against the odds.
Can we ask Chat GPT a question?
And
Yeah.
then
Go ahead and ask.
Ask them, based on studies and surveys across the United States, let's stick to the United
Yeah.
States, how many women prepare more time or spend more time preparing for their wedding as opposed to
A marriage.
No.
No?
As opposed to preparing for having the skills to be a wife.
That's a good way to word it.
Okay. Searching the web. I feel like I should use Perplexity for this, but okay. I could not find a reliable large-scale study in the U.S. that gives a specific percentage of women who spend more time preparing for their wedding than preparing to be a wife. Here are the closest relevant data points with context. In 2018, survey by AP Nork Center found that 4 in 10 Americans say couples spend too much effort on the wedding ceremony and not enough preparing for the marriage itself.
Okay, but see, I have a rebuttal to that. There is no way to actually measure the amount of how a woman prepares. You can say that she's preparing for a wedding. Yes, every girl dreams of wearing the white dress and the veil and walking down the aisle, but we're preparing our whole life to be a wife based on our habits.
not
and-
really, because
What I'm saying is that we use Chat GPT to counterpoint what he was saying. There's no data available. So where's the data he's coming from? That's
Yeah.
more
From
Vince
life
versus
experience.
Chat GPT
Yeah.
than what
Yeah.
what we've been doing. We're arguing over the same topic. So anything he says,
Just
you
ask
ask Chat
Okay.
GPT to counterpoint
Thanks for reeling
that.
it in, Kuya. I appreciate that. High five.
but wait, even if you were to take that advice, are you using ChatGPT to prove me wrong, prove you right, or
We're just
find the right
asking-
answer?
No, I think it's just for fun. Like, you know,
Yeah.
see,
Asking
Yeah,
the,
that's
we're just
cool.
asking it what you're stating.
But even
like
there's
where did the data you came from? You got,
There is no data.
or is it just
no, it's life experience. It's things
It's
that I've
based off
seen.
of the girls that Vince has spoken to.
Okay, so here, there's a documentary that we've both watched. It's called Friends. Did Monica have a wedding binder?
Yeah.
She did.
Did
yeah.
she have a wife binder?
But she already was doing all the wife things before she was even a wife. She
Yeah.
was obsessed with cleaning.
Nope. She was planning
She was-
for the wedding more than she was planning.
No,
being
she
a
was-
wife.
That is your assumption that because they made the planning for the wedding very obvious and very theatrical, but all her little habits is what made her a wife, being very detail oriented. That's how she's going to be when she's with her kids and her husband. Being a neat freak, that means she's going to take care of her husband and clean the house and do his laundry. So although they didn't say, hey, this is her focusing on being a wife, those are all very much habits and practices that you do as a wife.
But I can see that. But in that episode, she also prioritized having the nice wedding over going to move to a place that was a nice home outside of the city so that they can raise dogs and whatever.
They did do that.
They did do that.
Yeah, they did eventually. But preparing for the whole thing, or she was hyper focused on the wedding.
Well, of course, it's in sequence, one comes after the next. First you prepare for the wedding, and then you prepare yourself to have kids, and you prepare for the next, and then it's teamwork.
But the priorities were different.
No, they were the same for both of them.
No, the priorities were shifted from the wedding to the family.
What are you talking about?
Well, she was prioritizing having we can have wedding A or option A for the wedding if we use all of the money that
Can
Chandler
you
had.
ask ChatGPT, what is the statistics of women getting married in a big wedding as opposed to a intimate wedding or courthouse wedding?
What is the statistic of women getting married
With a lavish wedding
with a lavish wedding?
as opposed to a small intimate setting or courthouse wedding?
But there's variables in that too.
Age is a variable in that.
Yeah.
Going off into the military is a variable in that too.
Yeah.
Okay, but see, all those women didn't prioritize the big wedding. It's still
Well,
Still,
they're prioritizing the trap of the.
which a man doesn't have to agree to if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's stupid. Don't do it.
Here are some solid statistics about wedding size and spending in the U.S., which help give context to the lavish versus small intimate question. Though no, exact numbers for lavish versus non-lavish aren't always broken out perfectly. According to the Knott's Real Wedding Study, the average wedding guest count in 2024 was 116 people. In that same date set, 13% of couples invited between 1 to 50 guests, 33% invited 51 to 100, and 50% invited 101 plus. Some of the things that we don't have in these studies is a clear, dependable statistic that says X% of women spend more time focused on lavish wedding versus preparing to be a wife. A precise breakdown of lavish weddings versus small, intimate courthouse wedding for how many couples choose each. Enough data that separates lavish by cost and intimate by guest count and courthouse. So it goes into what do you even mean by lavish versus...
She asked it. I mean, why are you asking?
Well, I mean, you're the one that says that women have they only look forward to this big party.
Yeah, they dream of the party more than being a wife.
But you're basing that off of the women you speak to.
Yeah. I speak to a broad range of women.
He has no choice but to base it off of.
Yeah, because there's no study on it. Is there?
This sounds
Is there a
like
study?
fear of money, spending money, or this sounds like a financial conversation rather than a wedding, marriage, partnership, commitment conversation. It just sounds
Gaslighting.
like
Nice.
all your arguments go back to, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to give her money at the end. I don't want to spend it in the beginning.
This episode should be called "Does Vince Think Marriage is Stupid?" Not Vince versus
Well, it's
ChatGPT.
well, it's funny that if I think of it, it's fear. But then if a girl thinks about carrying mace with them when they're walking by themselves on the street, it's precautionary.
Well, it is. That's also fear too.
Well, so is the contract in
Yeah,
marriage.
but the
It's
way that you guys
precautionary.
are framing it, but it's cool. I mean, I'll go with that. That's fine.
Okay, well, we're framing it that way because if you had succeeded in your previous marriage, you would not have this mentality. So, of course, it's fear-based.
But I also see a lot externally.
That's just your RAS. Just fix
What?
that. Your RAS.
The hell is that?
Hold on. What?
Oh, you're using terms that you don't know?
That's your to explain it. Yes, because this comes from Mel Robbins, not from Bayan Garamani. RAS is the filter in your brain that decides what information gets your attention and what gets ignored.
Well, I'm not seeing anything that's supporting that marriage is beneficial.
You wouldn't like
for the
to.
guy.
You wouldn't choose to. That goes right. Like that's not in the.
Well, you're projecting
RAS.
that assumption because at the end of our conversation yesterday, I did say that marriage could be good, and I'm for it, but not in its current state.
But there is no current state. You get to mold whatever you design the contract to be.
This is where this argument becomes. It's like you wake up day after Thanksgiving, and the wife says, "Hey, babe, it'd be great to go have some lunch, go Black Friday shopping, and go hang out at the mall with the kids. Go take pictures of Santa. And I think it'd be great family time." And Dad's like, "Fuck, I gotta wait through traffic. I gotta find parking. Then I gotta wait
With all
all
these
around, screaming kids, walk around doing absolutely nothing while you shop and try to pick the right blouse at the right discount." That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
It's like you guys are thinking this will be
The joyous thing.
This will be
Yeah.
great, and Vince is already thinking about
All the shit that will fall
all the
apart.
shit that could and possibly will happen.
That's a great analogy.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like that's why you'll never win that argument can never be won because there's already a mindset. It's a mindset.
But you're talking about a couple that are on two different pages. I'm saying that
But the couple will go together anyway.
Right.
But the husband is already thinking, this is what's going to happen if I go.
But then what about the marriages where both people are on the same page? Like,
So he's just using it as an analogy of the
Oh,
way he
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the husband will go, "Nah, you guys go ahead and go by yourselves." You
which
know what
is
I mean?
Equivalent to him being like, I'm not
yeah,
gonna get
no,
married.
fuck that. I'm not
Yeah.
going Black Friday. That's why you can say Black Friday shopping at the mall is stupid. And then you're like, "No, it's great. There's so many discounts, so many kids. Kids can go out there
you're right.
and take pictures with Santa. There's going to be like some food there, maybe some Thanksgiving stuff." And then you're like, "No." And then Vin's like, "Fuck that, stupid, because this and this. And there's no studies that show how long men wait for their wives while they go blouse shopping.
Yeah.
Trying to find that 40% discount at Charlotte Russe.
So the
You know what I mean?
conclusion is we will never change Vince's mind.
Exactly.
No,
It doesn't
Okay, here.
matter if
Well, that
it's
was never the
chat.
goal.
I know.
No, okay. Here, look. This is what I proposed, right? I would be all for marriage, and marriage would actually be a goal of mine if the current state of marriage or the what was it, the Institute of Marriage required education on how to protect yourself during and after the marriage if it falls apart, and you can only attain that certificate if you pass a test. Not just give me a pamphlet. These are the things. These are your rights.
please
But
zoom
that
in on
is-
your face on that
I'm
part.
like, I'm not.
But that is also the equivalent to, okay, there's many people that do premarital counseling. It's the same thing. Or there's many churches that require premarital counseling before they even
Yes,
Get married.
but that's just you guys talking to somebody. I'm saying make sure that they absorb it. Just like you guys don't think that I understand things. If you guys were to test me on the things that you say, and then I were to answer all of those questions so that you can validate that I actually absorb the knowledge that you guys are giving to me, then I can understand if that were translated into the marriage, the Institute of Marriage, because then you know that both parties have no excuse because they are qualified to be married.
Well, that goes back to the premarital counseling. There might not be a legitimate test at the end or a literal test at the end, but in that marital counseling for 6 weeks, you will find out in that time frame if that person is the person you want to marry.
No, but I'm
Because
saying the test should be like enforced. That should be enforced. What's it called? Paternity test should be enforced or mandatory for all pregnancies. And I think that all litigations when it comes to like divorce and relationships should be represented in the court
Anonymously.
anonymously.
You mentioned that last week.
So I mean, like, No, I'm all for it.
I actually agree with that. That in court system, I think it'd be better for both parties for it to be an anonymous
and see,
representation.
by you agreeing with me on that, that means that you know that somehow, some way, that the marital system is flawed right now. And
Not
I
the
will
marital
say,
system, the court system, period.
or the court. Okay,
Yeah.
regardless, but because it is, you're agreeing with me having it anonymously. That means that you know that it's flawed, and it's flawed because of gender.
Everything's flawed. The tax system is flawed.
Well, I mean, and it's not
But
just
just
gender.
giving me an example of other things that are flawed
think-
doesn't mean that it's okay for this to be flawed too.
I feel like, I feel like, I lost my train of thought now.
It's okay. Tell me about your feelings.
No. You're an asshole.
Legit.
I know, but you're my favorite asshole.
Yep.
So it works out. Let's see. What was I going to say? No, I can't remember.
He was saying that the court system is flawed.
Oh, yeah. So you're saying that it's based on gender. Absolutely not. I feel like it should be, and now we're kind of drifting off into another topic, but I feel like anonymous representation should happen because it's not just gender. People will give you a harder sentence if you're black.
age,
like,
sexual preferences. Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
so-
but it's regardless, by making it anonymous, then it'll be.
Okay, what about gay marriages?
What about
So
them?
two males, that's two males in a marriage. Do you think that that's less likely to blow up than a male and a female? Do you
Yes,
think,
statistically, yes.
And do you think that one person doesn't
Wait, you just said
benefit more than another?
check with ChatGPT.
Checking with chat.
Are male and male marriages less likely to end in divorce as female and female marriages?
It goes like this. Safest is, I think it's
and female.
gay marriages, male, then heterosexual, and then lesbian is the highest divorce rate.
Oh, you already looked this up?
It's just common knowledge.
Yes. Research indicates that marriages between two men appear to end in divorce at a lower rate than marriages between two women.
I wonder though if that's based on the fact that less men actually get married.
It's because
No,
we're
it's about-
more logical.
It's about more logic and rather than emotion driven.
Yeah.
Because you have two females which are generally naturally
Can
emotionally
you
driven.
chat GPT that? What are the statistics on the amount of men that gay male, like male to male marriages as opposed to hetero marriages and opposed to female marriages? Like is it true that more, you know what I mean? Like, there a less amount of men that are getting married? Because a lot of men don't want to get married also.
Okay, so
No, so
is
yeah, sis.
that based
No,
on
No, re-ask the question. In gay marriages, what are the statistical what is the statistics on male and male versus female to female marriages? Because then you'll get we'll throw heterosexual out. Then
How
we'll look
many how many male relationships end in marriage as opposed to lesbian marriages? I mean, relationships end in marriage.
or we could say is that statistic based on equal numbers of marriages, or is it because less male and male marriages happen?
It's a crazy prompt.
so long.
Because I want to know.
You could
That's
have
a
just
good question. And the short answer is it's unclear whether the lower observed divorce rate for male-male marriages is simply because there are few of them, or it reflects the genuine differences in stability. The datas are limited, and several complicating factors make direct comparison difficult. What we do know is a recent study of Finnish data found that within 10 years, about 20% of male-to-male couples had divorced, compared to 41% of female-to-female couples.
No,
Yeah,
but
so when it comes to
ask
percentages,
though,
then,
ask it though,
yeah.
what is the percentage of?
no. It said percentages. 20% of males end in divorce.
No,
and
no, saying, but they're looking at. Let's say they're looking for the number where it's like if there's only 5 male marriages versus 300 female marriages.
Yeah, then of
So
course
where
the
you're-
male
yeah.
rate will
so
be
where
less.
You're gonna
no,
ask
the
ChatGPT.
percentage is still going to be the same.
Yeah, but you're gonna just for shits and giggles, in gay marriages, in 2026, Let's just say, or 2024. Let's go back 24.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can't do it for next year.
Or yeah, in 2024, how many?
I feel like you guys all need ChatGPT against me.
How many male?
Wait,
male,
in gay marriages 2024, how many male?
in male marriages
How many?
were there compared to female and female?
Oh, that's a good way for just making
get
it
it.
1 year. Yeah, like an idea.
I really think we should use Perplexity for all this research. Okay, I couldn't find a reliable public statistic in 2024 that breaks down the number of male to male versus female to female same-sex marriages by gender composition. How many? Okay, according to a report by William Institute as of June 2025, it's estimated there are about 823,000 married same-sex couples in the U.S. Approximately 47% are male in couples, and 53% are female.
It's pretty
to female.
even.
It's pretty even.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Well, our other guests are here, so I think we're not going to win.
Well, no, okay.
No,
here.
I don't think that one's supposed to win. I'm just
I
saying.
know. I'm
Okay,
just-
the-
no,
yeah,
but
this-
it was versus ChatGPT, and ChatGPT doesn't have any information. God damn
I mean, they
it,
only have the
ChatGPT.
World Wide Web, and I'm just stuck in my bubble, but whatever.
Well, but everything you're saying is just like what ChatGPT is saying. There's no actual numbers. This is just your perception, and ChatGPT is also saying the same thing. There's not enough data, but this is what we could assume. You know, it's like the same shit.
I'll say this. In my conclusion, I'm not against marriage. I'm just against how marriage is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I were to be in a relationship, I would hope that the end goal would to be married. I truly do. I wish that
That's
like
not the end goal. That's the beginning.
so. All right, whatever.
We
not-
win.
That's the end goal, because you start dating and then eventually
No. That's the beginning. Marriage is
That's
the beginning.
also where we differ in
Yeah.
the mentality.
Well, yeah, no,
Men
I
are like, fuck,
I
I'm
believe
done.
no,
And women are like, yay, my life is just starting. We're going to build a life together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
no,
So-
but okay. So when I say that, what I mean is the last title that you can get is husband and wife. So that is the end goal, unless you want to go further than that, and your end goal is to be widow and widower.
No, it's not the title. It's not the title that matters.
Well, I don't care about your point of view. This was my no. This was my
Yeah.
end point, right?
Okay.
Like what is the last title you can have as a couple, other than widow and widower? Married, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Man
that
and
is
wife.
the end.
Mom and dad.
You could be a mom
There
and
you
dad
go.
without. And I'm already, so I can't make that another goal. I can have another kid, that's fine, but I'm already a dad.
Okay. You just asked me a question. I just answered.
No, but in the scheme of a relationship, the end goal is marriage. As far as titles. Now from there, yes.
So you're saying
now
you
a new
do want to be married.
Yeah, I would love to be married. I would love to
So
have a
we win.
wife. No, I would love to have a wife, but then the way that it's all set up right now, it's stupid because like at the current the current requirements to get married are so simplified where anybody can get married and then the court system and the government can take advantage of the people's ignorance. That is messed up.
Well, at what system would be the perfect one for you to get married?
Well, I said it already.
You said it. He said it.
Yeah, it would have to be a requirement where the people are properly educated and tested, so that they will understand what they're getting into for a marriage. Because at its current state, anybody can go to Vegas or wherever and just sign a paper and have Elvis marry them. And at that point, where both of them are equally ignorant to the laws that are presented to them, it's very one-sided as to the benefits from one side to another.
So
And
then
I
maybe
think-
you and your girlfriend can go and get the education together and get tested and go get married. Why do you care what everybody else does? You can do that.
Okay, I can, but it's not a requirement, and I think it should be.
But it could be a requirement for you and your life.
Yeah, that's fine. I
In
could
that
do
case,
that.
then you would get married.
Maybe.
We got close.
We got a baby.
Maybe,
We got a
but-
baby.
That's a big win.
Yeah. That is a big win. I say we did it.
Okay.
It only took Chat
right.
GPT and the World Wide
No, my
Web.
computer is closed before we got that maybe.
Yeah, literally. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Males, husbands, fathers, wives, not fathers, mostly husbands and wives. Please chime into the comments. Let us know what you think. If you agree with Vince, if there's certain things that you think you want to throw in the comments to convince him otherwise, or if you want to prove us wrong or try to sway our opinion, please feel free to share in the comments.
Or you want to simply hang out with me day after Thanksgiving on the couch watching some football.
Or that. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.